everyone, how is it going? About a week ago I made a custom channel strip and I wanted to try it out for about a week before I shared it with anyone, just to see what I thought about it. And I love it, and I do want to share it with you guys, and I want to give you a walkthrough of what it is and how I use it. The main point of having a channel strip is to have a whole bunch of multi-controls in one spot, and it really speeds up your workflow. When I get inspired to make a beat or have a song idea or whatever, I like things to go as fast as possible. So here's what the channel strip looks like. We have a high pass, low pass, reverb, delay, chorus, multiband over the top compression, and then I have a fast attack compression and I have a slow attack compression. What I did was think about what are the things that I do the most. And the number one thing that I do the most is roll off low end. So if I have a song with 50 tracks on it, one of them might be the bass drum, the other one might be the bass, and on every other single track, at some point, I've gone to audio effects, I've grabbed my EQ8, pulled it onto the track, put the curve how I wanted it, and then rolled it off. And while that's quick, it can be quicker, and it can also be included in a channel strip with a bunch of other things. So another thing I do a lot, I use a lot of one-shot samples in my beats, whether it's a horn stab or whether it's like a vocal shot, like a yeah. I always like to add a little bit of reverb and maybe a little bit of delay to these one-shots when I'm trying them in my beats, because that way they're not super dry and kind of standing out, and it kind of meshes it all together. So I added the reverb and delay. I added some chorus, and honestly there's 8 slots and there was one more slot available, so I just kind of picked chorus. But the super 3 important ones are this OTT, which is the over-the-top Multiband Dynamics, and in Ableton you can go to Multiband Dynamics and find it in that drop-down menu. This is kind of a secret sauce in Ableton, and it's also the only thing on here that you can overdo. I made the other 2 compressors a little bit more subtle to where you can crank them, and this I rarely go above 30% on. But let's take a look under the hood and I'll show you how this works, and then I'm going to show you a few different examples of how I use it. Let's start with this dry chain. The first thing you see here is called a static EQ, because the way I did the high pass and low pass is with this EQ, and I have this all the way down, wide open, so all these sub-frequencies aren't being rolled off. So this just cleans it up. So when you initially put the strip onto your channel, this isn't screwing things up because I offset it with this. One thing I really like about this is the over-the-top, the Multiband Dynamics, and what's really cool and a little bit different for me, but I've really liked it, is it's just on the dry channel. And if you use OTT a lot, you probably already know, if you apply it to something that has a whole bunch of reverb or a bunch of delay or something already on it, it really boosts those effects too, which sometimes that sounds really awesome and sometimes that's what you want. But this is kind of cool because when you apply the OTT with this strip, it's only applying it to the dry signal and it's leaving the reverb and delay and chorus alone, which that makes this a little bit more subtle application of OTT, which I really dig. So here are the 2 compressors. I use the glue compressor for both of these, which you can find right here. The fast attack, I have just the fastest attack and a really slow release. I have the ratio on 4:10. And on the slow attack, I just have a really slow attack. A faster release, I also have the ratio at 4:10. And what's cool about these, you can crank it up to 100%, or you can, put it somewhere around 50% and do parallel compression. The fast attack compression, I would say, is more for like vocals. So if you have a vocal or you have some kind of instrument to where the volume seems to be kind of jumping all over the place, throw this fast attack compression on it. The slow attack compression, I would recommend that on like a drum bus or a drum group or something. You know, after you get your drum beat done, group them all together and try throwing some of this slow attack compression on it. And what's really cool is sometimes when I'm sitting around thinking about a certain element of the song and I'm like, hey, does this need fast attack or slow attack? And sometimes that can get like confusing. And what's really cool is you have them both right here to try. So instead of wondering about like what the rule is or what you're supposed to do, you can just bam, listen to that, bam, listen to that. And there's been times when I thought it would be one, but the other one actually sounded better. So just having both of these right here at your fingertips to try has been really cool and something I really enjoyed about this. Okay, so the reverb I'm running in parallel, pretty straightforward. I've rolled off a lot of the lows and a lot of the highs. This is a really safe reverb. Like, once again, I don't want this channel strip muddying up your mix or anything. So I also put a saturator on just the reverb. This is something I like to do. It just beefs up the reverb a little bit. Delay, I just have like a simple ping pong. Like I have my BPM at 140 rather than 70. So when I set my delay to like quarter notes, it's really doing eighth notes. And when I set it to eighth notes, it's really doing 16th notes. So I'm pretty sure I have it set to... I'm pretty sure it's doing eighth notes, so I have it set to quarter notes. So that's something to think about if you're at 90 BPM or something, to where you're not, doubling the BPM. Or if you're like at 70 BPM, you might want to go in here and switch these to 4, but whatever. Alright, so here's a drum group I have that sounds like this. And normally what I would want to do to a drum group is a few things. I'd want to roll off some of the extreme low ends just to clean it up. I would probably pull up the OTT Multi-Dynamics and add a little bit of that. And I would probably pull up a compressor and set it to a slow attack and apply some of that. And maybe a little bit of reverb, maybe even a little bit of delay, like real subtle. With this, I can just do all that immediately. I just pull this up. And I'll roll this off to about 50, and it shows the hertz on here too, which is really cool. Add a little bit of reverb, maybe just a touch of delay for good luck. Let's do the OTT to about 20%, and let's crank this slow compression up, and now we have this. Here's the beat before and after. So, immediately I was able to accomplish 4 or 5 different things just right off the bat. Here's just a snare shot. What I'd want to do on a snare shot is just maybe roll off the lows to around maybe 150, because it's probably peaking around 200 hertz. Add a little reverb on this guy. Maybe some OTT. And some slow compression on that as well. And so now we have this. Here's what we started with. And here's with it. So yeah, it gives it a little more punch and power just right off the bat. Here's what it sounds like on a kick drum. Pull this up. Let's just do the slow compression and a little bit of multiband. Turn that down a hair. Maybe turn this down a hair too. Yeah. Okay. Now this is pretty cool. So I made this loop like this on purpose. It's a vibraphone loop. You can see that the first note's way louder and then these second two notes are quieter. So I'm just going to turn this fast compression up. And anytime you want to kind of check what your compressor is actually doing, you can just record it onto a new channel. So right here is the pre-compressed. You can see there's a huge off balance in the volume of the notes. And then here's after that fast attack compression. And so that's good for, you know, any kind of instrument that might be having variances in the volume, vocals, stuff like that. And like I was saying with vocal shots, let's say I wanted to use this.
Booty, booty,
Booty, booty. It's super dry, so let's play it with this beat.
booty, 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 booty.
And like I was saying, I just want to real quick pull this up, take off some of the low end, add a little reverb, add a little delay. Let's do some fast attack compression and a little bit over the top. And so now we have
Booty, 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 booty.
yeah. So there you go. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions.